Hi guys, how you doing? Kevin here. Hopefully all is well with you. Now, yesterday we talked about, some of the lessons from Jim Rohn. I'm going to continue that today for you, okay? And hopefully it can get you to think slightly different than the way you're thinking right now. This is going to be really important for you in your career, your job. It's going to challenge you in times, and it's going to make you stretch and grow, okay? So that's what we're going to cover today. And I'm just going to start out by something that was said to me by Jim years ago, and he's talking about work harder, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Now, and then he went on to say, if you work hard on your job, you can make a living, okay, and that's noble. But if you're working yourself, you can make a fortune, and that's exciting, okay. And goes on to talk about it's time for you to bring value to the marketplace and ask yourself what you can become, what you can add value to the market, and how you can go about that. Okay. Then he goes on to talk about something about success is something that you attract. Okay, so you don't run after it, you don't pursue it, but you attract it. Now, there's a couple of ways to attract success to you, and that's being more skillful. You could be more knowledgeable in your marketplace, and basically, what you're doing is instead of chasing people all the way along, they will be drawn to you based on your skill level, your skill set, and how you can add value to them. Okay, so to attract skillful people, he says you have to be skillful to attract and communicate with people. You need to be communicative to attract people. You must be able to attract them into your life, okay? And you don't do that through running after people. You just educate them in relation to what you have spiritually, social, personal development, all that kind of stuff. So bring value to the marketplace. Let's just start with that there at the moment. Now, today, what I want to do is really dive into the four seasons, okay? The seasons of understanding the passage of time, okay? And you'll see me kind of dipping down, my eyes will dip down here because I want to be able to bring you the most value from this. And Jim Rohn, he was very knowledgeable, he's very wise, he's been teaching and training corporate people around the world, he's been teaching and training hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And of course, if you look at some of the big professional people in the arena today, like Tony Robson and people like that, Tony was mentored by Jim, so the information here is really really important. Okay, now with the current situation and the climate around the world, we've over the last few years in particular, we've experienced a massive shift and a massive kind of upset to the regular pattern of what we became used to. Okay, and Jim covers this here in basically understanding the lessons of the seasons, which I'll go through in just a second. But we all know that we've been upset by coronavirus. There's other activities going on in the world like wars. There's external forces that are going on beyond our control, and they're the economy is changing, it's shifting. People are talking about really going into recession, how that all operates, and these are all although they're external things, there's a pattern to what we do in the same way that we do uh, normally with the spring, winter, autumn, harvest time. These things in life, if they're explained to you properly, will be knowledgeable for you to take forward to use not just now but in the future as well for what you do, because there's usually a pattern, a shift in relation to economies, how it works, how it operates. And one of the great things is by learning this here is you're prepared then for the next step forward to take. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so if there's a pattern that's kind of repeating itself over and over again, we can learn how to survive. Okay, and there's kind of four different seasons that I want to talk to you about, and Jim talks about them. Okay, in relation to winter. Now at this present time, we're in summer. Okay, so summertime here, evenings are longer, nicer weather. But I'm not going to start with that. I'm going to start with winter because right now, with winter, we're all experiencing different things. You might experience financial issues, inflation rates going through the roof. Uh, Personal might be something personal or social. there's always something, at this time during the winter time where it's dark, it's dingy, we don't get as much daylight. So during the this aspect of things, learning to survive is winter time, and basically with the shift in the world in relation to the financial markets, in relation to, hi Paul, how are you doing? Good to see you. In relation to anything that's going on is the winter time. But winter time gives us opportunity to become stronger. It gives us opportunity to learn. It gives us opportunity to think differently. Okay. And Jim Rohn was great at this kind of stuff. He says use the winters to get stronger, wiser, better, to learn to think. Learn to think negatively when things are positive, and learn to think positively when things are negative. Now that in itself is a profound statement. So when things are negative, try and think positive. When things are positive, you can learn the other things as well there. Okay. uh, During the winter, you kind of purrs the winter down to kind of like the way ants, the ants, they're working all the time, they're underground, they're carrying stuff all the time with them. And during the summertime, as soon as summer comes along, the ants just are working underground. We don't see them. They're consistently doing what they need to do all day, every day. And then as soon as sunshine comes out, they're up on the ground again, and they come out and they're ready to go, and everything is like that. Okay, and then what happens is the ants during winter, they disappear, they go down underneath the ground, but they're working away underneath the ground all the time. We don't see that, but they're actually doing that. Now, as a human being, sometimes when the economy shifts, when financial matters shift, when fear comes into play with things that are happening in the world that are beyond their control a lot of the time. This is a time where people kind of knuckle down. During economies, especially, you'll see a lot of people that'll go into um, it's amazing. Okay, people who are in marketing and advertising, big brands and everything like that, they freeze. They basically freeze, and they go down on their market. So they turn off all their advertising. Okay, the, the thing that made them where they are during the nice times, they turn it off. Okay, and it's just like human nature. You just kind of go into a shell. Whereas if you really understand the economy and how it works and everything like that, this is probably the best time to do these kind of things. Okay, but for us as human beings, we're emotional characters. We're drawn you know um, into things, and we listen then to everything else externally on the news and the broadcasters. And the way I look at it is news broadcasting, it's very good for informing us about things that are going wrong in the world. And sometimes we need that balance of understanding there's a war going on, or something's happening. But I also understand that people in the news arena are getting paid big fat paychecks to bring you the most negative impacting news available to you, and that has an impact in everything that you do and everything that you think about. So during the winter time, which is, the warm days have gone away, so they won't last as long. And we've got to get down to the stage where you're thinking to yourself, well, what can I do? So if there's something negative that's happening, you've got to try and flip that, and look for things that are a little bit more positive, a little bit more upbeat. Start to get yourself around reading materials, positive stuff. Get around positive people as much as you can. These are all kind of really good indicators of what you can do. Okay. um, but remember that there is a time that you need to kind of go down, and you need to go down underneath. But just like a swan in the water, a swan is kind of, looking gracefully on the water, and it's actually pedaling pretty damn hard underneath, and it's keep on churning. So always remember that in the times of financial, personal, or social unrest or anything like that, that we're all human beings. But after the winter comes harvest, and it's kind of like a set thing. It's in nature. Every year we see the flowers come out. They continuously come out regardless of what's going on in the world. They bloom as long as they're nurtured and given the right kind of stuff. That they will happen. Okay. Now winter is a bit like that. Okay, you got to get deep into the relation to doing that, and you want to understand how to survive. So learn how to turn that negativity into positive. Um, And during the winter, remind yourself that it won't last forever. It won't last forever. Okay. The times that you're going through are usually cycles. If you look at the economy cycle in relation to growth and pitfalls, it's usually about 7 years. Okay. Now coronavirus has had a massive impact on that. One of the reasons that you're falling into kind of a recession or inflation now is because the central banks have overproduced money. That's what they've done. They have overprinted money, and consumers weren't spending that money. That is one aspect of things, and it could be simple as something like the shipping channels in China. The manufacturers, the factories are shut, and therefore there's a big backlog of stuff and everything like that, and that accumulates and kind of adds to this whole thing of inflation, which drives it's beyond our control. Then you get the war going on and everything like that, which is pushing up prices and everything like that. So it is very important during this winter time to actually start to read books, associate with yourself with positive, like-minded people, get around them, people who can fire you up in relation to your dreams and your goals. It gives you time to nourish. It gives you time to absorb yourself into the growth period of what you need to do in order for you to get out of that. Okay, spring says you must do something in spring to take advantage of it. So when you're in wintertime and you have the knowledge and you have the information now in springtime, as the seasons change, we need to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that presented to us. And spring always brings new opportunities. It brings new things. If we're not ready in winter for spring to hit, what happens is the people kind of just bring that all that negativity and it kind of spills over into spring. Now it's spring, oh God, I'm not ready. So, spring is a time of growth. It's a time of seeing blossom everywhere that you go. And it gives you the opportunity then to bring those opportunities that you were working on during the winter when everybody else was thinking, being dragged down. Don't let yourself being dragged down by winter. It's there. Understand it's real, but don't get so bogged down in it that is going to kind of squeeze you and you become a weed where you can't grow and become something that you need to do to take advantage of the opportunities. And then an opportunity spring comes around, you got your mindset right, you've got everything willing for you to get yourself forward, and that'll bring you to new opportunities. You'll start to see new opportunities in relation to what you're doing. And yesterday, what we did was we covered a great deal in relation to um, some of the stuff. What did we cover? We covered 4 steps to success in the last one that we hadn't done, and we talked about good ideas, good plan, passage of time, which we're covering now. Okay, solving the problems and stuff like that. And this is the foundation of what's going to, kind of bring you to a higher level. Now, this what I'm going through is just a very small portion of what I learned from Jim Rohn. And Jim is a phenomenal character. If you even get the opportunity just to listen to Jim Rohn, you can check him out on YouTube. He's there. He's an incredible teacher and mentor, and he could probably do this a lot better than what I'm putting this across. They talk about here in springtime in business on like farming, you have to create artificial spring, pouring it in for 90 days to make everything uh, possible. Okay, so during springtime, you've got to allow yourself a 90-day period of inputting the good stuff into your mind. Okay, now I didn't say a week, I didn't say 7 days, he didn't say 3 hours, he didn't say anything like that. He said a 90-day period. Now 90 days, 30, 60, 90 is 3 months, isn't it? Okay, so allow yourself 3 months to put in the information, read books, learn during the springtime as well in life. So you're doing this in the wintertime and you're doing it in the springtime. Okay, and then he's talking about the life is the life at the longest is short. Learn to appreciate the opportunities and take advantage of them. So during that time, 90 days, you could be reading, you could be engaging in content, you could be looking at how you could develop yourself, talking about goal setting and talking about things that you want to achieve. Start to look at possibilities of where you want to do, plan out your future in relation to doing that. This could all be done in the winter time. The challenge with winter time is that there could be so much more going on, so much more pressure going on people. So you really have to take that set. It's negative self-talk, and then start to turn that into positive self-talk, and realize that it's only a pattern. The things that you can control, and the things that you can't control, just leave them and let them lie. There's nothing that we can do about them. Okay, if there's something that we can do about it, we take massive action on that. And then he talks about summertime. And summertime is the greatest time, isn't it? It just is. It is the greatest time, where we have beautiful sunshine. The plants are outside. They're growing. They're nurturing. You're giving the rewards. They're reaping the rewards of everything that was planted and harvested over the period of time. And you can see the beauty around us with the long evenings and everything like that. This is no different. There's always a comfort with both good and evil. There's always opposite to conflict. The upset. Uh, the upset of human adventure. Okay, and then he goes on to talk about, without good, there's the evil, stuff like that. We've always going to have these things in life, okay, where something goes on and it's just awful. Okay, we all know what we're talking about when we're talking about that. Okay, but we as human beings, we need to nurture things and protect our own environment and make ourselves stronger. So then, that what we can do is we can actually give out value. We can give out something to somebody else that may be in that stage where they need it at that time, and somebody just appears. Now, if that happens to you, they talk about the law of attraction or something like that, but it's usually that the indicator that is you are ready to receive the information, and not the other way around. I love this, what Jim Rohn has said about this nurturing and protecting during the summertime. We must learn to nurture our values, our body, our life like a mother, and we must learn to protect like a father. And that kind of just sums up a lot of what's going on in the world right now, isn't it? Okay, because you know, we look at what's happening in Ukraine, and the fathers are protecting, their what we take for granted. We take freedom for granted. We take everything that we've just been given for granted. So they are the protectors right now, and they're really illustrating that by protecting their freedom, their life, and everything like that. But as a mother, they're nurturing, and that's like the world is coming around the people to nurture them and to give them the hope and the inspiration that there's good people out there in the world. So we have good and evil at all times, but we need to understand how to nurture those things, and we need to be able to nurture ourselves as well, to be able to surround ourselves with that nurturing and growth. So I just love that. We must learn to nurture our values, our body, our life like our mother, and we must learn to protect them like a father. Okay. Um, Okay, so he goes on to say here is we want to take advantage of what we learn, play the game. You must work with all your positive forces to defeat negative forces as early as soon as possible. Nurture love like a mother, and give life like a mother, and a protector of hate like a father. Take life like a father. You need to kill the weeds in the garden. Okay, that surround you, and basically that's what you need to do. You need to nourish yourself and give yourself that time to grow and develop. Okay, you must not become a victim of yourself. This is the struggle of the greatest battle in the mind during the summer. Pay attention to the conversation in your minds, and watch and catch your negative self-talk. Now, this negative self-talk is the voice that's going inside your mind. It's talking to you at all times. It's kind of saying, "Oh, you're good at this. You're not so good at this. Oh, you look good in video. You're not. Don't look good in video. I don't think I can do that. I can do that." It's almost like it's something that's going on consistently in your mindset. So what I was taught over the process of time is that, for every negative thing, I think somebody said this once before, for every negative thought process that comes into your mind, you need to replace that by at least 7 to 8 positive statements to reinforce again, to get rid of that negativity. Not that you don't know that it's there. It'd be foolish to come along and say that the war isn't happening. It is happening, regardless of what thinks of what. I don't want to get into the political side of things, but we need to protect our mind, and our mindset is what it is. So the self-talk is going on inside your mind all the time. When you go and do something, am I good at speaking? I don't think so. Or it could be defeating yourself over and over again by just saying things that you think you can't do things. So the self-talk uh, is consistently there. We can't monitor it, but what we can do is we can adapt it by giving it the direction of turning something that's negative into something that's positive, by reinstating the positivity in relation to that. And what I might do is, I did this before as a demonstration. You could try this at home if you want to do it. Um, but I'll do it in reality, maybe in a video, so you can see it. This is not what I'm talking about, but see this here. This is kind of cloudy, and it's a drink, okay? But how pretend this is all negative now. You do it with Ribena or something like that, because it's a good experiment, and do it in a bigger container, okay? And say to people, like, this is the negative, this is the stuff, the cloud, the stuff that's here. Now, how much clean water do we need to put into that to make that actually crystal clear, to become positive again? So this is the negative thought process. And what you do is you put the water into it, and you got to put in a lot more water. It's not just filling it from here to here, it's filling from here to here, plus a lot more. Try it with Ribena or one of those, condensing things. Put it into a big liter size water, and then do a demonstration like that, and then see how much more positive you have to put in for the negative that's there. So we're bombarded every single day by negative, which brings us joy and happiness and sadness, and that's part of life. We seem to be sometimes more drawn towards the aspect of being sucked in by the negative news and stuff like that than we do actually realizing the impact of what it's doing. So if you take, for example, that just listening, a few things that you could do is to kind of cut out maybe the news broadcasting as much on the war. Not that it's not there, it's real there, and it's really something that I think is going down in history. But we need to protect ourselves and our thought process, and our thought process will enable us the freedom just to relax, move away, just to be not so uptight with stress and stuff like that, and give us the thought process of overcoming the challenges. Now, over the last 3 years, I've had some challenges on the last 3 years. I'm not going to deny that. Okay, I had a back operation, had a neck operation during the height of COVID, by the way. Okay, and I'm actually still dealing with a lot of vertigo and stuff like that, and nausea. But I had a choice. The last Facebook Live I did was 6 months. 6 months ago. Can you believe that? Okay. And I decided, you know, look, I can still help people achieve something to overcome it. So, I mean, I was only talking to somebody there recently, and they said that some people went into the hospital and didn't come out alive, and I went into the hospital and came out alive. Okay, so you've got to count your blessings to what you have and where you're going. The fall is a critical thing here. Is a lot of people come in, and the fall is about having patience. Okay, um, having patience in relation to seeing your crop develop, or having patience just in life, okay? Because some people might come out and they say, I'm going to set up a business and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and they're all excited about it in the very, very beginning, and they literally give up maybe in the next year. They hit a challenge and they haven't mentally prepared themselves for the challenge, and they're walking into it kind of like a deer in lights, you know what I mean? So you need to understand that there's going to be challenges along the way, but you need to be patient in relation to getting where you want to go. You cannot become a world renowned speaker if you haven't studied the material to become a world renowned speaker, and that takes a period of time. If you want to become a surgeon, you've got to study, you've got to go through the format, you've got to work hard, you've got to go through everything in relation to becoming a surgeon. It's no different to anything that you want to do, whether that's setting up your own business. You got to work hard on it, and then you got to work consistently to make it work for yourself, and be patient in the process. Most people who set up an online business, for some reason, I don't know why, but they have a thought process of, within the next 24 hours they're going to make millions, and that's gambling. You know what I mean? You don't want to be gambling. You want to be realistic about where you want to go. You want to understand that it's going to take some time to get you where you want to go, so you need to have that patience in relation to doing it. Now they say just on the internet, give you a quick example, okay, is they say that, within the first 7 seconds, if you haven't captured somebody in the first 7 seconds, they're gone. And we've created a society where everything is so instant on the internet that sometimes we take that into our daily life and expect the results almost like that instant. It's not going to happen, okay? So understand that your harvest will come, but it'll come in due time. Like for a farmer, he goes out and he plants the seed, he waters that seed, he nourishes that crop, um, and it takes time for that to develop. And then he knows after him doing that, there's the seed, there's there's the wheat, whatever comes out of it, and they know then they can get the rewards. Okay. Um. So he talks about, just wraps up things here today. He talks about two things that can wreck your chance for your future. One is impatience, and the second one is greed. You must learn to have patience in things that work out. Greed is not good. It's evil. Greed helps for something. Yeah, for something for nothing. So these are the people that are looking for something for nothing. They're not willing to put in the work or anything to get what they want to do. They're usually looking for a get rich quick scheme. It's almost like a gambling table. They're going to throw it down and see if they're going to win, and hopefully they will win. But there's more to life than that. Okay. Okay, and again, we just wrap things up here. I'm sorry, I'm looking down at the notes, but I think it's a good idea. It just that when he's talking about this, the key to wise is to use all your resources. Take 7 years of plenty, and do not use them all, but prepare for the next seven. Okay. Now, again, he said 7 years. He didn't say 7 days. He didn't say 7 weeks. He said 7 years. So a lot of people will traditionally, in a traditional business, out there, offline business. It's just like take an offline business, and traditionally it's between 2 to 5 years before they actually start to break even. Okay, so a lot of businesses out there are working away, they're working away, working away, and they're paying their staff, they're getting everything ready. But it's a 2 to 5 year period. It's not a 2 week period. It's not two month period or anything like that. But these are some of the lessons that have been taught by Jim. Understanding the lessons of seasons. And I just kind of, before I wrap up, I just want to kind of go on to this area here, which is an exercise. So let's just do a quick recap of what we're talking about. Winter, learn to survive. Okay, so wintertime, you're going to learn to survive. So the winter, although we're in summertime now, I believe that winter is pretty much on its way. You're going to have inflation rates going up. You're going to have things happening in the economy. You're going to have advertisers turning off advertising, which is bizarre. And the reason why I know that is because we were helping companies do advertising, and we were selling advertising. And during that period of time, it was almost like a tap on, tap off kind of syndrome. So you don't want to be that tap on, tap off. You want to kind of keep, keep a larger vision of yourself. You want to, um, understand that there may be job losses, there may be with things that happen financially, there may be things that happen health wise. There's always going to be something that thing. So during winter, you've got to learn how to survive. Okay. um but there's a couple of questions here, like what will you do, what skills would you learn, what will you implement, what new jobs, what would you study to create those things and to implement those skills. And spring is obviously the window of opportunity, but there's no guarantee there, because spring is just nearly coming out of winter. You've done the lining, you've done the grind, and now you're starting to come out. But it takes time for that to operate. So that might be saying to yourself, well, I found a new job, I found a new career, I've now gone on to you know develop myself inside a company. It could be anything in relation to doing that, but it's the growth. Winter, spring, it takes a little bit time to get to the longest day of the year, if you understand what I mean. And summertime is to nourish and protect, nourish and protect what you've already got to that point, okay? So you might have a new company, you might be doing some training programs, stuff like that within this period of time. Uh, you may master a course, you may want to study on your own, you may want to do something that you've said to yourself, well, what else is there that I can do to enhance my career? What other aspects of things can I bring to the table? And then the fall is of course that area where we can kind of see things that are developing. We've gone through them. We're now starting to reap the rewards of what we want to do. Okay, so I just want to nourish and protect. I just want to kind of go back to this, okay, and remember we must not become a victim of ourselves. So if things don't work out the way we want it, we must not be a victim of ourselves, okay? The vast majority of people will probably not do the necessary things to become successful. Just remember that, okay? And pay attention to your conversation in your mind. That's hugely important. You know, all athletes. If you look at McGregor, yeah, Colin McGregor. Um, hi, Kieran. How you doing? Paul is watching as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Um, Colin McGregor recently. You look at back in not just in his fights, but you look back on his self-talk before he actually entered the arena. He knew exactly what he was doing. Now, I was looking there. Hi, Kieran. I was looking just back in a previous interview with himself and Tony Robinson actually, and during that he was saying, well, how do you do this? You know, how do you do this? How do you have this mentality? Where did you grow up? And he talked about the same place that I grew up in. You know, it was a bit of a hustle place. You know, Dublin 12 a kind of working class area and everything like that. And you have to be tough and you have to know, like, you know, it's the only way out and all this kind of stuff. And a certain element of that is true, okay, but at the same time he during the process, Tony asked him a question just about, you know, how did you get on? How did you, you know, what made you have this determination and that kind of stuff? And he said his sister gave him, you know, this book called The Secret. You know, the book, The Secret, the Law of Attraction and all that kind of stuff. And he said, oh, this is kind of hokey pokey stuff. So she gave it to him or whatever, and he kind of put it by the wayside, you know, as you do. And he said, so yeah, that's not for me, like, you know. So he kind of left it there on his shelf, whatever. And then, of course, he was bored one day and picked it up. And his sister had said it to him again, kept repeating, you know, check this out, you know, the law of attraction and all that kind of stuff, you know. And he said, oh, I started to read through the book, and it talked about finding a car parking space and stuff like that. And he said, okay, look, we'll give it a go, we'll give it a shot. Look, you know, nothing to lose, and see how this goes. And he would be driving into the shopping center, and then all of a sudden, you know, he'd find a space where he'd never have found a space before. And he said, okay, well, it's starting to work now. It's starting to work a little bit. What if I can take this into my own arena? So Colin McGregor, if you look at him very, very closely, yes, he's a great fighter. Yes, hi Ken, how you doing? Yes, he's a great fighter. Yes, he's good in the arena. What makes him tick? What makes him win? And if you look back in the history, stuff like that, he's using a principle called the law of attraction. He's using self-talk. He's actually determining the fight to the next competitor before he actually gets into the arena. If you listen to him very, very closely, what he's saying is he's saying that I'm going to. He could tell people when he was going to beat them. He could tell them when he was going to knock them out. He could see himself already being the champion, already wearing the prize, and that's what he was using. He was using the principles of self-talk. He was using the principles of seeing the element before you actually get out there into the arena. He could see the result before he actually, you know, made it happen. Okay, so if you look back in history again before that, the only other person that I've seen doing that was Muhammad Ali. He used to talk about, you know, I'm the king of the jungle and this and that, and they're both using the same principles. Okay, and Connor's just using it. So during the interview, he was telling Tony all this about how he was using the self-talk and everything like that to get him where he wants to go, and using the vision of what he wants to accomplish and what he wants to do. So this stuff works if you work it. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not something that you kind of suddenly come along and develop over things. Um, you know, how many years have I been doing this person development thing? Probably about 25 years. Now, for somebody coming in, It's all new. It's all relevant. It's a bit hokey pokey to the new person, maybe, but in time, by studying the material and understanding the concept, you can start to enhance your career. Maybe you want to reduce your hours of work. Maybe you want to make more money in a shorter period of time than what you're currently doing right now. Maybe it's something that you want to have a freedom, a lifestyle business where you can work from anywhere in the world. Maybe it's something that you want to do that you've secretly been saying for the last 2 years, 3 years during coronavirus, during everything else that life has thrown us. You know, um, what is it you want in life, or what is it that you want to accomplish? I've seen people over the last couple of days being able to talk to people, and they're saying that their employees have left and they've gone to this and they've gone to that, and they say, well, where are they gone to? And they're gone on to do stuff that they really wanted to do in the first place. And I thought that, yeah, that's a huge shift. And when there's a huge shift in relation to what you're doing, you can go to great places. So there's two ways that you can do this. You can be pulled by your circumstances or pushed by your dream. Your dream, if you make the dream or the goal bigger than you and I, you can accomplish far more than what you've ever thought possible. You can give back to society. Society starts to be drawn to you as an individual because you've grown as an individual, and then you can spread that simple bit of magic around you. Like we were only talking about this the other day, and I'll sum this up. Okay, is talking about having a journal for yourself and writing down some good ideas with that journal. And if you missed that video, go back and check it because it's good content, it's good information. And what I do is I have that with my son. He has a journal beside his bed, a notepad, and he writes down good ideas every night. And the idea is that he can go back through that, and then he looks back through that, and he thinks to himself, oh, is there something there that I can do? Maybe. So the idea is not to limit your possibilities. Don't put limitations on you. You're different. You're unique than anybody else. The only person that can put limitations on you is you. So Jim Rohn summed it up. And he says, formal education will make you a fortune, and self-education will make, sorry, I said that wrong, haven't I? Formal education will make you a living, and self-education will make you a fortune. And the fortune sometimes is just in developing you as an individual, and attracting the right kind of people to you. When you've got that outer exterior, excuse me, of knowledge and information, you can bring that into your career. You can bring it into your marketplace. Now, I've seen lots of people do this, whereas what they've done is they've utilized the material that they've learned, and they've brought that then into their career and their job, and they understand about goal setting, they understand about sales, they understand about targets, they understand about having a longer vision for the company. They're more positive in relation to what they're doing. They understand there's a challenge coming away. Instead of getting bogged down in that, they're looking for the solution. There's lots of great things that are taught, in relation to what you do. In relation to management style, I've seen people go on and being able to manage teams where other people were brought in before that couldn't do that. So I've seen that happen. I've seen a lot of good stuff happen with this kind of material, and it's something that I'm going to be bringing to you over the next couple of days as well. So hopefully you're enjoying this material. If you did, please do the usual honors of liking and sharing it. We're into day 2 now. Let's see what we can cover tomorrow, which will be exciting as well. And by the way, I may be here, I may not be here at a certain time, okay? It's just the way life is at the moment, okay? Because I have some challenges and I need to deal with that. And now I'll have to rest after this, okay? 4 steps to success. We did that. The passage of time, good ideas, good plan, passage of time, solving problems. We did that. Let's do this tomorrow, okay? Or the next day that we come on. Hopefully it'll be tomorrow. Turn nothing into something, okay? Imagination, fate, activity. Straightforward enough, okay? So that would be something that we can cover. But there's lots more here that we can go through. I really want to share, three keys to personal development. And we'll go through some of that as well. And this will help you grow and develop and become something maybe that you want to change in your life. Sorry, I'm just looking through some other stuff here. This is very rude, isn't it? But some great information in that. So that week, that kind of information was conducted from Jim Rohn, who was a great teacher, great teacher indeed. It was from a weekend of Jim Rohn, Dennis Waitley, and let's just see Brian Tracy. Okay, so that's who was there teaching this kind of stuff, and they're far better teachers than I am, but I just want to kind of sprinkle a little bit of magic on it for you, and hopefully it's made an impact to you. But you know, Jim Rohn is a great person to just make you think outside the box and just think a little bit differently. Okay, so things like there's going to be 2 points of view. There's going to be the good and the bad. Hi, Nye, how are you doing? Good to see you. And there's going to be always, you know, challenges to everybody in everything that they do. So that's been great. So I really enjoyed today. The Lessons of the Seasons by Jim Rohn. The 4 steps of success we've already covered. If you haven't checked that video out, check it out. Really good. So today, just a quick recap before I head things off. We talked about the lessons of the seasons, understanding the passage of time, winter, which we're in right now. Okay, how to learn how to survive in that area, which we touched on some things about financial, personal, spiritual, social. Time to harvest. Okay. Winter is the time to, you know, take that thinking that we have with all the negativity going on, try and flip that into positivity thinking, you know, learning from materials, understanding that you can learn, you can grow during this period of time. You might want to start a new course. You might want to start, you know, reading some positive books. You may want to just enhance your career in relation to doing that. Okay. And spring has no guarantees, but it does bring opportunity. Okay. And remember the 90-day period in relation to doing that. Okay. 90 days. He doesn't talk about 7 days. He doesn't talk about 2 weeks. Okay. Read and learn during the springtime. So that you can develop. Summertime is nurturing and protecting. And again, we must learn to nourish our values, our body, our life like a mother. And we must learn to protect them like a father. Oh, I just think that's so profound. Okay. And with that said, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you got something of value from this. If you did, please like and share it. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Okay. Bye for now.